Welcome to Northwoods Kindred. I'm your Gothi Bodvar, and in this video I'm going to introduce you to a product that was pioneered by a friend of mine. It's not on the market yet, but if you watch to the end, you're going to be able to help bring it to the market because this is something that we really need in our community. Coming up. So if you're familiar with a little bit of an outdoor lifestyle, then you'll understand the need for a portable place to have a fire. Especially here in an area like I live up in Idaho and a lot of other places around the Northwest, we have what we're in right now, which is essentially mud month. But then when the summer comes, everything is dry and there's almost no places where you can have an open fire. So you have to, in most cases, bring some sort of a fire pit or some sort of a containment. You can't just put rocks on the ground and burn your fire on the ground. It has to be elevated. And in another case, if you're using this fire for any kind of ceremonial purposes, in a lot of cases, you want to leave no trace. You don't want to dig a hole and make a fire ring and burn an effigy to yourself on a bunch of rocks. You want to have a nice, clean way to have a fire and then take your mess with you and leave no trace behind. So this is a problem that a buddy of mine, Mikhail of Emberlit, and you all know Emberlit from the portable camping stoves that pretty much broke the mold. And then now everybody makes some variant of it because of Mikhail's genius. This is a larger version of that designed to be a central fire for a small camping group, overlanders. If you boat a lot on rivers or if you do some canoeing and you wild camp a lot, you know that you can't just have fires willy-nilly wherever you want. You always bring your own kind of a fire containment device, and that's what this product is. So I'm going to introduce you to it. I have a prototype. This month, Mikhail is kicking off his Kickstarter to try and fund this project. And if you know Mikhail, you know that every Kickstarter he's kicked off has been funded and completed and gone into production. So this is going to be no different. And if you want to get in on the ground floor and get a really cool product at a really good price, watch to the end of this video and I will tell you how to get a hold of Mikhail or how to get involved in that Kickstarter project. For now, let's take a look at the stove. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I'm an old hat at this product. It's brand new, it's fresh out of the box, and we're going to assemble it here and burn it for the very first time. And I'll go into the features of this as we do. It is prototype phase, so there's no bag for it yet. I just put it in this canvas ditty. And there's a couple other things that I think Mikhail's working on, and those things will probably come out when he puts together the Kickstarter campaign. But for now, we're just gonna look at this fire pit and evaluate it for our use as a portable camping system, not for backpacking, but for overlanding, boating, and vehicle camping and other things like that. So this is how flat it packs down. I'm sure you wouldn't have too much trouble finding a little bag that you could carry this around in until Mikhail develops a good product for that need as well. It's only got a couple of pieces to it. I think it's 6 pieces, and it's made out of a really heavy gauge stainless steel. I don't know what the gauge is, but I'll ask Mikhail and I'll put that down here along the bottom, as well as the weight. I don't know what the weight is right now because it's fresh out of the box, but I'll put this thing on a scale and I'll put the weight down there too to tell you. But I will tell you that this isn't backpack efficient. You're not going to throw this in your ruck and go hiking into the mountains. But if you're car camping or boating or doing anything like I said, this is going to be a good system. So first we're going to unpack and we're going to look at the pieces. We have a base. We have 4 sides that are all virtually identical, except one side has the riveted on Emberlit tag. The base has fold out legs, and then this is an interior platform. So the legs elevated off the ground, which gives it some clearance so it doesn't burn or char the ground underneath. And it also has these holes where you can insert long sticks so you can get it to float on top of snow or some sort of loose soil if you need that extra elevation. The instructions are quite simple. All the pieces are the same, and they all just clip together through the slotted pieces of metal. So if you're at all familiar with the Emberlit stove, or those types of flat packing, backpacking stoves that just burn any carbon material, sticks, wood, forest litter, you'll be familiar with the way that these pieces go together. They're all fairly similar. This is essentially just an upside down Emberlit, sized for greater use. As I talked to Mikhail, some things that are in the works are a mesh cooktop for this, as well as the carry bag. So as with any stove system, preparation of your materials is paramount if you want to get a good fire going, especially in a place like this. We have this super wet environment. Everything is either muddy or covered in ice. So the materials that you choose and prepare will set you up for success or failure. So I'm going to prepare some materials, some dry materials that I brought out just for this purpose. But if I wanted to gather materials here, it would be considerably more work in the environment that I'm in right now. Some of the materials that I brought to start the fire with is I have some dry tinder. In this case, it's in the form of birch bark. And I have a little bit of fat wood. And then I have some dry wood from my fire pile. So you could go around and you could gather the materials, but this isn't going to be a class on how to make a fire. It's really just going to be a look at how efficient it burns in this particular stove setup.
We got time on our side. We're in a state of hope. I need you on my fire. I want you to know that every time you're away, I long for you so much I can find my way. We got everything here, at least to stay alive. And the time that we share makes it all worthwhile. Got this place on our own. Do you feel that we got something strong? And I saw you walking the line, and the truth may come as a surprise. That with you I feel alive. You'll be the last one I think about. We got time on our side. We're in a state of hope. I need you on my fire. I want you to know that every time you're away, I long for you so much.
So as you can see, having a little bit of dry wood and a little bit of prepared tinder goes a long way with actually getting the fire started. That wasn't too difficult at all. And now we have a really good hot dry fire. So let's watch this burn down a little bit and let's see how efficiently it burns the wood.
That with you I feel alive. You'll be the last one I think about.
So the instructions are pretty simple. They're just basically shows the 6 parts and how to put it together, what we just went through. You can see that it's drafting amazingly. The construction is double walled. So there's an air gap that's built into the construction of the stove. It's not like the small backpacking stoves that are just a nice clean single piece of steel. These are forged out or pressed out pieces of steel with vent holes strategically placed inside of them to get a good draw of oxygen into the bottom of the fire to get a nice clean and efficient burn. I can tell you without a doubt that this would not burn like that if I tried to start it on this wet ground underneath here. And if you want to add something to it, like a fire blanket that you would put underneath the bottom, I don't think you would even scar the ground on a nice dry summer day, the way that this thing is designed. But as it is right now, in this kind of a wet, sloppy environment, if you can find dry wood, you can have an amazing fire. And it is really putting off some heat right now too. I wish I had some sort of a thermometer to tell you, but I can feel that heat really strong back here. This would be a really quick and efficient way if you were boating and you fell in the river and you needed to get a fire going and get warm and dry. I think that this would be your best bet right there. So now it's my opinion that this is probably one of the best portable stove options that are on the market. I know we've seen the ones, the big permanent, big round ones, and that sell for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. They're hard to carry around. They're nowhere near as efficient as this. You see that there's hardly any smoke that came off at all. It just got a big raging fire. And by the looks of it, it's gonna burn all the way down to a white ash. We'll see. So whether you have a need just as an overlander or car camper, or even if you're RV camping and you go to those spots and you like to have a nice little contained fire outside of your RV, this is probably a really good option for that. Like I said, boating and canoeing, you know, I had a trip a couple summers ago down the Smith River, which is a permitted river, and there are campsites there where you are required to bring some sort of a fire pit or fire device. We did it on the North Fork, floating down through the Bob Marshall. I believe that's what the river was. There was no campfire pits at all. You had to bring some sort of a system for that. Something like this would go really nice and flat in the boat. You could probably just toss it in the bottom of a gearbox and not even know it's there unless you need it. The environmental impact is nil. You know, the worst thing that happens is you burn a little bit of wood and clean up the environment a little bit. It's obviously a leave no trace design. So if that's part of your goal, is to go out and commune with nature and do these things and not leave a scar or an effigy to yourself when you go away, this is a really good option for that as well. I would use this inside of my teepee because it has the proper ventilation for it, but this would get a nice fire in the teepee that would warm the space well, and it's still an open fire like you would normally have inside of a teepee. I think that this would be a great option for that kind of camping as well. With an option like this, you don't have to be concerned about your campfire lighting the duff in the forest litter that's underneath their fire pit. I've had them before where we would come back in the morning thinking that the fire was completely out, but only to realize that it actually channeled down through the duff and created a whole fire tunnel system underneath the ground, which are scary to begin with, but they're also really hard to put out and be positive that you put them out. This eliminates that problem completely. And if you add something like a cheap fire blanket underneath it to cover the ground, I don't think you would even scar green grass. I think that you would just have the ability to make your fire, enjoy it as it was meant to be enjoyed, and leave absolutely no trace whatsoever. In my opinion, this is the best option for a portable fire pit as you know to date. And I know that Mikhail put a lot of time and energy into developing this product to what it is. And I think that if you get it, it's probably going to be one of your most prized camping and overlanding devices. I think it's just going to be one of those things that you purchase once and you use it the rest of your life and adore it, and everybody that sees it is going to want to know where you got it. So you have an opportunity to get in on the ground floor with this. I'm going to put down in the description below the link to his Kickstarter as soon as it goes live, or if there's a pre-Kickstarter, then I'll add that down there as well. Follow that link, jump in on it, get yourself in on the ground floor, help Mikhail realize this goal. It will happen. Every Kickstarter he's ever done has been funded, so be a part of that. You know, be a part of that for our community and for our people. Help a small business, help an American-made product get a little bit of leverage against all the China crap that's coming into the country and flooding the market with cheap garbage under the guise of survival gear. Let's help our own people get ahead, and at the same time, let's help ourselves with amazing products. So I'm kind of doing dual duty with this video. I'm really trying to help my friend out, and I shot a good portion of this video for the survival community and camping community. But what really got me excited about it, and the reason Mikhail actually sent me this one to demo, was for you guys here at Northwoods Kindred, because I have had multiple conversations with him about needing a product like this so that we can go do rituals in the forest and have a fire when we have certain fire restrictions, or we don't want to damage the landscape and we don't want to make a big impact, but we still want to include an open fire pit in our ritual, whether we are burning effigies, pouring out mead, adding, you know, incense and things on the smoke, but we really just want to take a fire with us when we do public rituals. This is the perfect solution for that. I'm super excited to bring this to you. I hope that that you find find some use in it and you want to go help support his Kickstarter and bring this product to market, it's not just for pagans, but it's absolutely exactly what the doctor ordered when it comes to doing public rituals or rituals in public parks and public spaces where fire restrictions are at the maximum. And I don't know, other than a complete blackout against fires, I think that this meets all the requirements that I've ever seen for having a contained fire during fire restricted seasons. If it's allowed at all, then this right here will get you compliant with the law and the rules. And more importantly, we don't leave an impact. We can have our rituals, we can honor our gods and our ancestors, and we can honor the spirits of the land, and we can pack it up and we can take it with us and not leave any kind of an effigy or memorial to our own ego. Now that this fire's died down a little bit, I want to show you just the basic dimensions. So we're looking at about 14 inches height on the panel and 17 inches off the ground. And then for width, overall width, we're looking at about 18.5 inches on each side. 18.5 by 17 roughly is your entire footprint. So it's not a huge thing, and it shouldn't take much space on any kind of a pack away. And I believe that the stacked up when everything was packed flat was under 6 inches in thickness. So it's a very small package, very easy to travel with. Now, just to wrap this up, you've seen all of this burn, you've seen me light this fire. I did not manipulate, touch, stir, or add anything to this fire from the point where I lit it and it was burning up nice and hot. I didn't even move the wood around to make it more efficient. I want to show you how efficient that this burned without any manipulation whatsoever. And it's already cool to the touch. It's already good. So this is burned down as far as it will possibly go. And I want you to see that, just how efficient this system is before I take it apart. So come on in here. This is what's left from being chock full of wood and having high flames and everything burning super hot and super efficient. That is what's left. That is about, I think that this is about as efficient, still a little bit warm actually, so it could probably reduce a little bit more. But this is about as efficient as you could hope for, considering what I put in here, how long and how hot it burned, and a little bit of smoke that it kicked off. This is pretty amazing. This is even better than I expected.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
And there's the only trace. And if you really wanted to be respectful, you could scatter that to the winds as well. Sort of easy.